What's up, my people? Welcome back to Brady Cup Football. Welcome back to another episode of the FIFA World Cup 2026 edition. I'm your host, Shego, and guys, it's great to be back here. Very, very tough match between England and Ghana. England nil, Ghana nil. Very, very physical game. I think I want to say first of all that this has been the most physical game I've experienced in the World Cup so far. In the number of games I've watched, I think it was purely physical, and we could also see the reasons why certain decisions were made by the managers. But guys, let's drop right into it. England nil, Ghana nil. Let's go into the analysis. What did we see in that game? What did we learn? First and foremost, let me start from where what I just said now in terms of it was a very, very physical game. You could see the reason why the likes of John Stones did not play for England. You could see the reason why the choice of the likes of Jet Spence in terms of speed, raw speed. You could see the reason why Tuchel made the decision to start Marc Guehi in the game. You can see how it was there in terms of the contacts, the duels. It was there in the area duels. It was there. The 1v1 physical battles. It was there. And you can see also Konsa was there in those physical contests. You can also see the reason why why you need a midfield base of the likes of Declan Rice and Elliot Anderson. Those guys really, they took a hitting today. I want to say that the Ghanaian side, very physical side, very physical. And also, let's also say that it's clear that the game was a game of two directions. In terms of the first direction is a team that wants to win the game, and second direction is a team that doesn't want to lose the game. And I think that's what we saw today in terms of England wanting to win the game. England wanted to cement their place in the next round as soon as possible, and Ghana understanding how the number of matches they have in the tournament. So they see how to play Croatia, they see how to play, and they played England today. So the decision was they have to be pragmatic, they have to be realistic, and go for what they could go for. So what we saw in the game is in the first 40 minutes. I think the first 40 minutes of the first half was a different kind of football from Ghana as compared to the last 5 minutes or 7 minutes in the first half. So for the first 40 minutes, we saw Ghana, for most part, operating sometimes in a 5-3-2, sometimes in a 4-2-3-1, sometimes in a 4-4-2 off the ball. So very compact, very narrow. They close off the spaces. And then they did that for the first 40 minutes. And all of a sudden, for the last 5 minutes of the first half, something happened and decided that, okay, let's come out, let's see what we can get there. And I think this is just pure strategy. You defended for 40 minutes. You want to go out and see if you can get a goal. And I think if they had gotten that goal in that momentum, you might be at the end of this game saying Ghana had won the game because of how compact they were, how disciplined they were, how physical they were in the battles. And I think it was a very, very good defensive setup from Carlos Queiroz in terms of the setup. For England's part, England obviously, England sometimes a 3-2-5, and sometimes it's even kind of like a 3-1-6 in a way, in terms of, or even a 3-1-1-6 in a way, because of the likes of Reece James doesn't progress as much as you would want. But I think a lot of things that we saw in terms of they were trying different opportunities and different ways to break the low block of Ghana. So what we saw for most part, also as a first half and also in this earlier part of the second half, we saw the fact that the likes of Gordon, even the likes of Madueke at certain moments were asked to play in the half spaces at certain moments, and then they depended on the likes of Jet Spence creating that overlap with Gordon, while Reece James also creating the overlap with Madueke on the right hand side to try and put in crosses, to try and even try passes within the spaces. But everything they did, was very, very difficult because the crosses were not. It was not easy to have those crosses. I think among the crosses they had throughout the game, I think one of the best chances they had was the O'Reilly one to the post. So it was a very, very compact kind of setup that was difficult for them to break. So they tried those things to do wing play. They tried, couldn't work. They tried to go centrally, didn't work. In terms of the likes of Elliott, the likes of Rice, couldn't, even the likes of Bellingham, they were physically, they had physical battles there that were very difficult. The likes of Elliott really suffer from physical battles today. The likes of Bellingham suffer from physical battles today. And I like the fact that Tuchel also tried to spice things up in terms of changing Elliott, removing Elliott, removing the likes of Bellingham, introducing the likes of Eze, the likes of Morgan Rogers to try and get something in that center zone Also trying to also spice up the wings in terms of Saka coming in, which Saka looked sharp today, had a good shot that was saved by the goalkeeper, brought in Marcus Rashford, to try and see if they could spice up something. But ultimately, it was very, very difficult. A quiet game from Harry Kane. Very quiet game from Harry Kane. Very difficult setup. But all in all, I think England will be looking at the last game of the group and hoping that they can get the 3 points from, I think, Panama. So they'll be looking at that. But ultimately, I think the game looks like a win for Ghana, because Ghana ultimately they got what they wanted. I think Ghana will be very satisfied. You can even see the reaction of the players with the draw. I think they'll be very satisfied with that. So I think England, I don't think there's any cause for panic really for England. I just think it's all about going out there against Panama to get the result. But also there are questions to be asked in terms of you are going to experience blue block like this. Football now is such a way that you will still meet teams either in the next round or even against Panama that might decide to go low block like this, go compact like this, be physical like this. So I think Tuchel has to find a solution in terms of what kind of way would you want to approach that really? What kind of way would you want to approach that? What kind of profile of players do you think you would want to start with to give you much more dynamics in terms of your attacking play? So guys, these are my opinions on the game. I think, as I said, you can also summarize the game as one team wanted to win, the other team did not want to lose. They wanted to get something from the game, and I think they ended up getting the points from the game, which is Ghana. Let me have your opinions on the game. Let me have your thoughts. If there's something I said you don't agree with, let's have that discussion in the comment section. Also, if there's something I said that you agree with, let's also have that discussion and analyze it more. So don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and ultimately don't forget to share. Until I see you next time. Bye.